Hey everyone, welcome to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ, Aaron Rift. Hell in the Cell, Heck in the Cell, whatever you want to call it. It's this coming Sunday, and we got a lot to talk about. We got your questions, so let's get right down to it. With David Otunga forming some kind of alliance with Ziggler, Vicky, Swagger, and Christian on Raw, do you see this being the new NWO, or is this a new Nexus alliance? I would have thought it would be Nash and Awesome Truth starting the new NWO. Your thoughts? Basically, I think the whole NWO thing took a life of its own. Kevin Nash came out to the NWO music several weeks ago, and it jump-started the rumors, it lit a fire, and I'm not really sure there's a whole lot to it. I don't think that there's some kind of faction forming. I think the whole storyline on Raw right now is basically all the wrestlers are protesting against Triple H as COO. They want him to resign, and maybe they're going to sue, maybe they're going to go on strike. We're just going to have to see how it plays out over the next several weeks, but it doesn't look like they're forming a stable. It looks like they're just using this whole storyline with the wrestlers getting upset as a way to possibly bring back Vince McMahon and do some kind of power struggle storyline between Vince and Triple H. So that's where I see it going at this point. Triple H, he's not going to resign or anything like that, so we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll change plans because, you know, Vince McMahon got upset a few weeks ago when, or last week when Alberto Del Rio mentioned his name on Raw and, you know, possibly gave away the whole storyline. But with WWE, plans can always change at a moment's notice. So I don't know what's going to happen, but that's what it's looking like at this point, that Vince McMahon returns and not any kind of faction forming or anything like that. Hey Aaron, what did you think about the 2000 film Ready to Rumble with David Arquette and WCW? Terrible movie. When I watched that movie, I was just embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. It was not good at all. And, I mean, DDP was okay, but, man, oh, God, that movie was just brutal. Just brutal. Michael Hayes said if the Freebirds were ever going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, it would be during WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta. Do you think he was wrong and that the Freebirds will be inducted sooner or later? Well, keep in mind that Michael Hayes has a lot of input in WWE. He's backstage. He's got some power. He's got some stroke. So I think it's only a matter of time before the Freebirds get in the Hall of Fame. I think it will happen eventually. Just it's a matter of time. And yeah, under normal circumstances, I'd be surprised if they got in, but because Michael Hayes is there and part of WWE and he's an employee for all these years, or independent contractor, whatever you want to call it, I think there's a good chance they'll get in down the line. Why do you think Rikishi never really caught on after getting that huge rub of being Austin's assailant? Was it just because fans dug too much into him as a face and didn't want to see him turn heel? Well, that was a period when WWE really started to, you know, we talk about on NoDQ&A video about how WWE doesn't do the long-term planning, and I think that's a period where they really started hot-shotting things, and it really felt like they just had a bunch of names in a hat, and they picked Rikishi, and he just ended up being the guy. It made absolutely no sense, and yeah, it was a bad idea because the fans were really into his whole gimmick with Too Cool. And I think they broke that team up way too soon. And Rikishi really lost his steam when he turned heel. It just wasn't what people wanted to see. So, and, you know, they turned him face several months later, but it just wasn't the same for him. It took away all of his momentum that he had. Yeah, that just wasn't a good idea. Hey Aaron, what were your thoughts on Shawn Michaels' entrance at WrestleMania 12? Spectacular. It was one of the, you know, most spectacular entrances in WWE history, and it's always played on the clips when they show the video packages. Just classic WrestleMania moment right there. Hey Aaron, love the show. Do you see a Lita return, and could it be bigger than another Trish return? Lita always seemed to be left out in the WWE lately. Well, I think that's a matter of choice. I think both Lita and Trish Stratus are happy doing other things right now. They had their run 6-7 years, and when you're a diva, you know, it's all about cosmetics and looks. So you have more of a shelf life than the male wrestlers do. So I guess they just figured that, after 6, 7 years that it was their time to move on. They made their money. They made their name. So there wasn't anything else left to prove or do. So I mean, there's always a possibility that they could return. I mean, Trish has come back on a small time basis, and Lita's made a few appearances here and there. But I think they're happy doing other things right now. Do you know where the Imposter Kane storyline was going to go? If not, where do you think it would have went? I think I think the whole idea of it was to promote Kane for the See No Evil movie, and they wanted to do some kind of interesting storyline with him. I don't think there was any long-term plans for it. They did that one match, and it was just a terrible match, and that was it. There wasn't anything else to it. It was just, publicity for Kane's movie. I think that was all it was designed to be. Hey, Aaron, what did you think about XPW? Oh, boy. XPW, it was what it was. It was basically a ripoff of ECW. It was trying to capitalize on the success of ECW and try to have a West Coast version of it. The matches, wasn't much to it. It was just, hardcore matches and lots of blood, lots of violence, and it's entertaining to a degree, but it wasn't really going to go anywhere. It was just, this small independent fed doing a knockoff of ECW. Just all there was to it. Why isn't Bruno Sammartino in the Hall of Fame? Once again, it's by choice. Bruno does not want to be in the Hall of Fame. He has been very outspoken against WWE. He does not like the direction that wrestling has gone since Vince McMahon Jr. took over and made wrestling mainstream, made it cartoonish, made it edgy, had the R-rated stuff. Just Bruno doesn't feel he belongs in it. He doesn't want to be associated with the product, period. And that includes being in the Hall of Fame. So he's definitely at the top of the list of guys that should be in, that aren't in, but at this point it seems highly unlikely. Never say never, but I would be surprised if he ends up in the Hall of Fame. Hey, Aaron, how come for the past 10 years there really hasn't been an exciting Hell in a Cell match? I mean, they never go outside the cell. They always stay in it. And also, how come there hasn't been another 6-man Hell in a Cell? The last one was my favorite. Well, to my knowledge, there was only one 6-man Hell in a Cell. And yeah, that was a great match. The thing with Hell in a Cell is, yeah, you can't go outside the ring. And now with blood especially, that even makes it more pointless in doing Hell in a Cell matches. I think really they should have stopped when the company decided to go PG, because you already have enough limitations as it is in terms of not going outside the ring. Because the thing was, several years ago, everyone was always expecting a big bump. Shawn Michaels and Mick Foley set the standards for it. You bought the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view expecting carnage and possibly somebody being thrown off the cell, and it just didn't happen. And it watered down the match a little bit because people's expectations were so high, and the matches could never really deliver. And then especially when you took blood away, what do you have? You just have a giant cage, and the guys don't even use it really. It's pointless. Yeah, really, they should just get rid of it. All right, that about does it for NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. Check out NoDQForums.com. We have a NoDQ&A forum if you would like to submit a question. I'll answer it via text, or maybe I'll even talk about it on the video show. Also, please subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Keep spreading the word. Things are going really well in terms of subscriber counts going up, and I just really appreciate all the support from you guys. So keep it up, and we'll see you next time for NoDQ&A video.